Mixing truth with the politics. Sacred scrolls unfold, ain't no quick fix. We break bad while debates grow thick. Faith and civics, call it Big Black X.
What's up, Biblatics? I'm Ron P. and my follower friend.
Christian Preston is in the building once again. Hey, how's it going, everybody? What's going on, Penny?
I don't know, but we just really rhymed right there, and that was pretty dope.
Hey, freestyling all day, every day. You feel me?
Yeah. Speaking of freestyling, I'm gonna hit you off with today's topic, and it rhymes. Wonder
Uh-oh.
Wokeness versus White Wishes. Yeah,
Get it?
buddy.
Bars.
We getting into it because I
Oh
don't
my
know. You
goodness.
shared a clip with about RFK, and basically like it kind of feels like he's asking us to either accept racist behavior
Mm,
or get over it. You know what I mean? Versus
mm.
people learning wokeness.
Play the clip, Penny.
So I don't think you can change that part of human nature. What you can do is you can make kids resilient against it. And the way you do that is by giving them a great education so that they know that they have potential. And the other thing is to give them business models, role models, and opportunities within their own neighborhood. You know, black men who are running barbershops, who are running bars, who are running dance studios, who are running local businesses, restaurants, etc., and who are part of that community. And you know, when I was a kid, my uncle was the first Irish Catholic president of our country, and when he ran for president, there was a tremendous resurgence in anti-Catholic sentiment in this country, and a resurgence of the Ku Klux Klan. I remember crosses being burned when I was a kid against an anti-Catholic president. A lot of other, I was called a Mick, a mackerel snatcher, all these anti-Catholic slurs when I was a kid. But it never bothered me. If somebody called me that, I would think that guy's got a problem. But I didn't think I have a problem. And that because I had a great education, I had a family who loved me, I had role models in my country, I had confidence in my own future. Oh, you know, those kind of things had no impact on me. And that's the kind of resilience that we want to give the American children so that they have so much confidence in their own future that when they do encounter the inevitable racism, that it will bounce off them, that they'll be, you know, like the Avengers, they'll be immune to it. And then we don't have to stop racism altogether because we're never going to be able to do that.
And so, yeah, so we're trying to whitewash the whole concept of racism, right?
What is he? Yes, he is.
And then when I say whitewash, I'm talking about Dawn soap on the washing out the back of a duck whitewash.
Yeah, yeah.
Blue Dawn soap, not just any Dawn soap, but they're blue Dawn soap they're using the commercial Dawn soap.
I, the funny thing about that though, in that same commercial you're talking about, BP messed up. They spilled oil and they're trying to promote that they are correcting it, whereas he's not trying to correct the mess that they made.
Oh no, he's not trying to correct them. He's trying to have something completely right beside it.
Correct. He's trying to say,
And
no, this is the mess that needs to be.
yes, and what I don't understand is it's like it's like no longer is it someone has to, there's no, right now, it's like there's not a right and wrong anymore. There
Correct.
is accept that it is,
Right.
and you just have to give them a pass. And but we have to find a workaround because it's just not going to go away.
Well, do we
And
do
that's
we do we really need to find a workaround, or is it because to me, it seems like we've been using a workaround, and now it's to the point where it's like, okay, we can't use a workaround anymore. We have to go direct because otherwise you won't get it. I mean, they're literally trying to change history so that there's no guilt. I mean, there's books that say slavery was the slaves were joyful and happy.
That's true.
And my question is, if that's so, then why do you fear slavery so much or becoming a slave
Uh,
then? If we were
uh-huh.
happy, wouldn't you
Or,
want to be happy?
or why do
That's
you
the
take it
pursuit.
out of your, yeah, why do you want to take it out of your textbooks?
Right.
Why do you want to minimize the actual things that happen,
Happen.
or the actual after effects and the ripple effects and the aftershocks that are still happening today? The funny thing about a workaround is this. The think about what a workaround is. The
Mhm.
reason why a workaround exists is because the thing that is won't go away,
Yeah,
or can't be done away with,
that's true.
or won't be done away with, so you work around it. But excuse me,
Okay.
yeah, the issue is with me is you don't want to do the hard work.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, but this is it shouldn't be hard work. It should be sensible work. It should be, if you're a Christian, it should be the work, the same work that you should strive for because that's what Jesus
Mhm.
was doing.
Exactly. I was just reading well, two stories come to mind, right?
Yeah.
The woman at the well
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and the Good Samaritan.
Oh yeah.
The reason why both of those stories, or accounts, I'll call them accounts. I like to say it like that. It makes me sound esteemed as a preacher. um, it's because in both of those accounts, both people were people of Samaria,
Mm.
right? So the thing about Samaria is that they were looked at as less than human.
Right.
In some senses, they were looked at as half breeds, uh, second class citizens of sorts. What's so awesome about, because I was reading about the woman at the well just yesterday, and if you look at the story, if you know know a little bit of the history, the Jews did not even like going through Samaria, to the point that they would go out of their, if
Way.
they had
Yeah.
to go through it, they would go find a way out of the way, just so they wouldn't go. So it seems strange for the woman for Jesus to be talking to the woman, from the disciples looking at it and from the woman who Jesus was talking to.
And let's
The
not remember when
uh,
you say out of the way, it's not like
mhm.
15 minutes. It's like a day, two
A
days,
day,
3 days.
exactly. If they,
So
no matter what, I mean, their hatred and disdain, not just dislike, not just, oh, we have a problem. No, no. They literally, they had a disdainment, they had a hatred for these people, that was on a level that they did not even want to, they didn't even feel that the ground was suitable enough to make the bottom of their sandals dirty.
I, I feel the same way every time the Steelers play the Ravens. They shouldn't be on the field.
You and me both.
Them
Listen, and I
little
hope.
ugly bird. What is this anyway? Them little ugly bird.
Listen,
Ugh.
I got some family members that are some Ravens fans, and I pray that they see this show, because we do not like y'all Ravens fans. Oh my goodness, y'all Ravens fans, we don't like y'all.
But real talk, you do bring up a good point, and getting back with to the RFK
Mhm.
Jr. discussion, it's just it it almost feels disrespectful. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
but on multiple levels.
Yes.
I mean, I'm talking about he's being disrespectful. You're literally disrespecting your lineage. Or are you? Now this calls into question. Now we know that his sister decried his moves that he's been making because she's been on public record saying this is not what our family stood for. So either you're chasing the bag because you want this stardom that you never could generate on your own, which is why you
Right.
decimated the Independence Party, and I'll say it like that. You literally turncoated on your own party so you can bend the knee, and kiss the ring of Trump to try to get somewhere. Or there's a secret history in your family that you exposed, and now it's just too late for them to walk it all back because there ain't many of y'all left. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Well, I know for
that's a
me,
little
he
bit.
just when he started getting into the comparison talk, I'm
Yeah.
sitting there going, you got a trust fund, you're the
Mm-hmm.
right color, you're also a male,
Mm-hmm.
you've got all the perks and factors
Yeah.
and benefits of this world, and you're telling, and you couldn't make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you go sit here and tell me
Mm-hmm.
how I should act and how I
Mm-hmm.
should be uh
Mm-hmm.
moving forward in life.
Exactly. And you do it like you experience such a great travesty in your life. I mean, the
And it's
way you're American royalty of sorts. You know what I'm saying? You inherited your wealth,
right.
generational wealth that stems from not
And
such a good place.
well, I was gonna say, and clout.
Yeah.
It's not just the money backing, but his, an entire family
Mhm.
is respected or whatnot, and
Exactly. That's why I said American royalty. Yeah.
right, and and at the top of that iceberg is JFK, who got assassinated, you know,
Uh-huh.
before we could even, I mean, I don't know, you almost believe that civil rights was going to really bloom under him, and it got
Uh-huh.
cut short. So,
Exactly.
you're banking off of that cloud. So when I see anyone named, or anyone in that King
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
it's
Uh-huh.
instantly they're on the good side of the fence. When I didn't
Yeah.
even know that dude existed until about maybe 5, 6 years ago, like
Uh-huh.
really existed. And I see
And
why,
then
because
you come out,
he's on
yeah.
this side of the fence.
Exactly. And you come out to be the antithesis of everything that your family believes
Everything
in
that
or
they,
stood for, rather.
yeah,
And not only that, but it's the luxury. He is the epitome of the luxury that a lot of people in this country speak with and talk with to say, like because you said this was my uncle who became the first Catholic president in a long time. Oh, I had to endure such hate
such
speech
racism.
towards he called it racism towards my Catholic belief. I'm like, dude, I ain't never seen no one hung in a tree or had their penis cut off for being Catholic.
Well, also,
I mean, come on, I ain't never seen a whole town such as Tulsa, Oklahoma,
right
destroyed because of someone being Catholic.
now,
I ain't never seen no Catholic boy um being put on the front of Jet magazine because he had, quote unquote whistled at some little white woman by the we're talking about Emmett Till at this point.
drug
But
drug
and
down
drug
a
out
road,
yeah.
right?
I mean,
Right.
I ain't never seen someone
Oh,
who was
never.
Catholic had the half of the foot chopped off so they wouldn't run from the plantation. I ain't never seen no one who was Catholic, where people came out after church on Sunday to string them up in a tree and then cut little pieces off them to put in their homes on the mantle. I mean,
I
I ain't never
I
seen that.
never seen that.
So I don't understand how you can say Oh, just give them education. Well, look at what you're doing with the education system. You're supporting someone who wants to dismantle the Department of Education. You
Right.
want to dismantle, you stand for a system that really got rid of affirmative action. You stand for a system who really does not like DEI practices, and you really stand for a system who really does not endorse diversity in areas. That doesn't mean just because we talk about diversity, it doesn't mean that the requirements are lessened, no matter what anybody likes to say. It just means that people need a hand up sometimes, because otherwise
Well,
they're gonna,
I have to push back on the hand up.
when
Because
I say a hand up,
only reason
I'm
I say
talking
that
about
is
a hand
because
up
there
to be,
are,
I'm talking about a hand up in the sense of being considered,
well,
being
that's what I'm
considered.
saying. I don't think it's a hand up because
I consider it a hand up.
these people are overly qualified and getting brushed over for somebody of less quality. And so those rules are put in place
Mm.
so that they can't use their
Okay,
privilege
so let's define that then.
to
So then
look
what would we
over
call it?
that.
So then what do we call it then?
What do you mean?
What should we call it? If it's not a hand up, if it's not a helping hand.
It's they earned that job. They had the qualifications. It's just that rule is put in place so that you
Yeah, I know.
can't just brush over this qualified person to
Yeah.
someone of a lesser qualification, but of the
Hmm.
same,
Yeah.
nationality and or race. You know,
So what do we call it though?
it,
Because
the way it should
people,
work. That's what we should call it. The way it should work.
the way it should work, right? And someone asked me about that. I know we got to move on, but someone asked me about that in one time and said, "Well, don't you think that because this and this and this is in place, we wouldn't need such policies such as that, affirmative action, DEI, and all these different things?" And I'm like,
Well,
if those other things worked, then
we wouldn't
these
have to
things
worry
wouldn't.
about it. They wouldn't be
Exactly.
in place. And
Exactly.
and it's real weird because him giving the reference to the type of racism, he dealt with. Well, I dealt with racism very, very early on as a kid, because my dad sued the city of Elizabeth City for basically black rights. They were gerrymandering
Hmm. Hmm.
and writing out the vote. So he sued the city, he won.
Hmm.
But during that process, we got dead chickens and watermelons thrown in our yard.
Wow.
My dad's partner, who lived in Virginia, he actually had a cross burned in his yard, which, I don't know if you know, but it is very conflicting to just have the knowledge that fellow followers, people
Hmm.
in my religion, supposedly, you know,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
using a symbol that I use, burning
Hmm.
in
In
somebody's
your
yard,
yard. Yeah.
using it as a form of terrorism to strike fear.
Pause right there.
You know how conflicting that is.
Well, pause right there. So for our listeners, right?
Mhm.
Back to let's dig back in memory lane.
Okay.
When we was talking with Josh, shout out to Josh Chambers,
Oh yeah.
Rich and Ruler Apparel. Go ahead and give props to that, right? Um, when I said that what I see coming is, and something that I have been praying against because I see it happen, is that I see Christians in on the violence being perpetuated on people. And he didn't believe me.
Yeah.
But it's so amazing how we tend to forget
Bruh.
that it's so amazing how we tend to forget history when we're trying to say look at history, but we tend to overlook the little tidbits of history that violence will perpetuate. That a lot of those violent acts were perpetuated by uh, quote unquote Christians
Bruh.
for Christian
Bruh.
reasoning.
Bruh. Jesus, Martin Luther King, JFK, We kill everything that's good, and we are proficient at it.
And
Anything
look,
that's good, we
and
kill
look, kill
it.
Jesus in the name of God, right? Kill Jesus in the name of Him. Come
Like
on now.
there was I
Oh
can't
my
remember. I think it
goodness.
was either Howie Mandel or it was some comedian
Uh-huh.
that was talking about, which I don't necessarily believe that, God's abandoned us, but he was making
Mm-hmm.
the point that, look at all that's happened. That
Mm-hmm.
we strive towards things
Mm-hmm.
that are bloody, and yes, the Romans, we had gladiators. Now there's football that's still the number one,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. It's overtaking baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that we have a bloodlust,
Yeah. Oh God.
anything that's
Yes.
like that, or anything that's good, period. That's just
Mm-hmm.
good, and it's like
Yeah.
we sat here and we sacrificed his son, which was for by design and everything.
Yes.
But still, just think about that. By design, he already
Yes.
knew we've got that so much in us that he knew
Mm-hmm.
the only way is by his death.
Blood.
And then
Mm-hmm.
and I'll forgive them of his sin. They're going to kill him. I know that.
That's
And,
it.
and he had to wait and sit and watch
Mm-hmm.
the thing that he created get
Mm-hmm.
killed by the other
Mm-hmm.
thing he
He
created.
created. Oh my God. I
Like,
mean, it was like
think about that, man. You just sit back. If it was you, and it
it's
said, I'm gonna put my son in the world so that y'all
the
learn how to do right because I know you're gonna do wrong, knowing that one day these creatures are still gonna do so wrong that it's gonna take his death for them to do
yeah.
right, for them to start doing right.
The concept of literally killing a god
Oh, we do that.
is
Oh, that's on TV all the time now. We just
uh
we do
bro,
that a lot.
it's
It's
so
crazy.
oh my goodness. That's man, to process that.
Right.
And we don't think about, but we don't realize just how normalized
We
the
have
violence
up.
that we uphold in our it's amazing to me. I was there's this thing, and I meant to look it up one day just for the sheer fact. I didn't realize, and I want to know the statistics on it, but someone had talked about how there's a stat out there talking about how many men spend time thinking about the Roman Empire or something like that. And I'm like, that is very interesting to me. But what's so amazing in that, just the off spitting balling off the top, is that because a lot of times, they're going to think about Caesar, and of course they're going to think about Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of men that are going to be thinking about, and I would love to see the stats, and I might do it soon, is that a lot of men like the Roman Empire, oh man, warriors,
I
all this stuff,
guess.
right? You
I
know what I'm
guess.
saying?
I mean,
Right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
but here's the thing though. Here's the thing though. Check this out. Because Rome was like strong, army, powerful, right? Taking over everything. But I guarantee you, all of them didn't see the Alexander movie. And the part when he was sleeping with his manservant, and his logic when he was like he felt like his power shouldn't be refused. Everyone should be able to experience his power. I don't think they think about that. You know what I'm saying? So it may, you think about the violent nature and all this stuff, and it's just so much that it's crazy. But and I know we went off on a tangent, but back to the thing, I cannot imagine seeing that across burning in a yard.
Yeah,
The
right.
the chickens, dead chickens and
Yeah,
watermelon. That's that's like that's horrible. I mean, and
yeah,
chickens and watermelon especially. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I mean,
And you got to
And
clean it. You got to clean it up, and you're just thinking the whole. You're thinking about it, like you know what I mean. Like you got to sit and think about it as you clean. So it's very
yeah,
it's impactful and ugly.
it is impactful. And the sad part about it is I want to make a joke so bad. Um,
Make it.
because I got a couple of jokes. I got a joke in the story. Number one, the joke is they could at least if they was gonna throw chickens or watermelon, they could have fried the chicken up and cut the watermelon up
I
and threw a
would.
couple of green jackets out there.
Oh, we talking about people of a little,
Yeah, yeah.
they're not historically fans of seasoning, so so so, so no. It's fine. It's fine.
Sit around KFC and Bojangles.
It's fine. It's fine. No need in putting that much effort for, the same
Oh,
results. The same results. So
but
I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. It's just typically, just historically,
and then
it's cool.
there was this time this dude told me he forgot the key his grand he lived with his daddy or his granddaddy one, I think it was his daddy. And they had a chicken coop, and his job was to clean out the chicken coop every morning and get the dead chickens out the chicken coop. And he didn't do it one morning, so his daddy came up to his school and called him out of the classroom and smacked him in the face with the dead chickens because he didn't clean out the chicken coop. And then sent him back into the classroom.
Yeah, it's
Oh
just,
man.
I think it's just,
Just to make light of it all, man,
I
because
know.
that's a heavy thing, man. And so
And with RFK,
because
it just, it feels like he,
that's heavy to hear that story from you about your pops
yeah,
and your family and even someone closer, because the degree of separation between us, that's just for me to that is very, but it goes back to what we've been talking about. And no no one white person should ever tell a minority how to be resilient.
right. It just seems like he's overstepping, or they overstep. Period. Just a little bit, and it's like I don't get it because we had Brad on. I've got plenty of white friends that see the world the same way I do. So I
Hmm.
don't I don't understand how you come from a family that seemingly sees the world the way we do and talk so different. You know what I
Well,
mean?
but what's the working word? Seemingly. The working word is seemingly.
Yeah, you caught it.
That's the key word.
That's what's
Because
up.
what did I say? What did I say just a few minutes ago? I said either, he exposed what his family really thinks,
Thanks. Yeah. Or
and that's a big no-no, and it's just too late to walk it back because just about everybody dead in that family anyway. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
or he's
no,
the
not
true
speaking.
or he's the true black sheep.
Or they
That's
that was a
probably
good
why he
one.
thinks that's probably why he thinks he could talk about us because he's the black sheep of the family. He done heard that enough. He think he black. He not. You not, bro.
Oh my goodness.
But it's
Hey,
funny.
look.
And it's funny how he talks about, like, he said, well, our community needs mentors and role models.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
you killed MLK, or not him, but
Hmm.
they
Your
killed
kind.
MLK.
Your kind.
And if I'm not mistaken, King James was told to shut up and dribble. And he's a role model. So what are you talking about? You don't like our role
And
models.
the thing is, so what is so tell me, and so exactly. So what how do you get to say um how do you get to say be resilient? How do you So what does education mean? Because if I'm not mistaken, LeBron James created a school. LeBron
Yep.
James did XYZ. LeBron James has these foundations. LeBron
Yep.
James does this. And in all of what he did, and in all of what he's done, and in
Um,
all of the inspiration to young black people, at the end of the day, some white woman, or let's be proper, some Caucasian news reporter has the audacity to minimize his Amendment One right to free speech. And yeah, the conversation was recorded and whatever, but I still have a right to say what I want to say in this country because it's a free country. And say, shut up and dribble. Just shut up and dribble. Play
not,
ball.
not only that, you got to remember too, she tried to play it off like, oh, he's a celebrity, he's not in the political realm. And I'm sitting here going, but in the same breath, you promote a guy that has never been a public servant and had a TV show where he fired people.
Hmm.
He all we know him for is celebrity. He don't even
Exactly.
do anything. He ain't even won a championship. He don't even have
Nope.
the best ratings or anything. If you go into the history, his even at that time, now granted,
Hmm.
all that stuff in New York and everything hadn't come out, but his real estate business was not doing well at then.
Or
The only
Trump
thing that was
University,
doing
or
well,
his little
right,
university,
right. The
that people
only
felt cheated. Well,
thing
not only that though. The thing is, not only that.
at that time
What?
when she made that comment,
Well, not
that's the frame.
exactly. But what about this though? And you want to say that you people like to relegate people to certain status. What do you think the average Joe does when they go into the voting booth?
Booth.
They're not public servants. They're
Nor
just lit.
political
They're
nor political junkies. Half of them don't even watch any of the stuff. They watch the debates late. You
mm-hmm,
know, they'll watch the last ones, and usually
mm-hmm.
it's about a month and a half out from them voting is when they actually pay attention. Whereas you and I, shoot, I know this election started 2 years ago. You know what
I
I mean?
have
You know?
I have, let's see, I have invested m more time. I'm gonna say this like I'm trying to figure out the way. I've invested more time in politics these last 8 years. I'm gonna say the last 10 years, because I'm getting older. And I will out myself. Because as you start to grow in that respect and get older, you start to learn what's more important. And the one reason, part of the reason why I was so on for this show, when we was doing the genesis of this project, I was like, you know what? It's a learning experience for me to help me seek deeper, to help me learn deeper than just the top of the spear, the tip of the spear, because really it's about the
What's
midterms.
below the
It's about
surface?
exactly, it's about what's right above my head in the sense of my local elections was my right here at my county, my state, and then in the overall country. Um, because it's a lot that I don't know, and I give credit to you, Penny, because I learned a lot, and you're helping me to think deeper about this stuff. So,
People need to
you
think
know,
deep about it. It's some
exactly,
serious
exactly. And
world
so
changing, life moving stuff. So yeah, you
exactly.
need to talk about it.
Exactly, but I also wanted to say that because I don't want people to look at us and get the impression that, man, both these guys are just talking about. No, I learned a lot. This is for
I
anyone listening.
learned too.
I learned a lot from Penny
I learned
because
from you.
he's been around the block a lot longer than I have when it comes to certain subjects. And even down to our script, I'm giving you some background. Even down to some of our script work, I'm learning this stuff. And so don't think that we just spitball this stuff and we just know all this stuff. No, we do a little bit of
No, we do
research. I'm
research.
doing more research. I'm learning to do greater research, and I'm still learning. So you're on this journey with us,
I'm
you
glad you
know?
brought I'm glad you brought that up. Just a small side note.
Mm-hmm.
Troll King, if you're listening, I can't remember what your handle is, but you called yourself a Troll King. We do our
Mm-hmm.
research. So if you'd like to come on and challenge us, hey, write in the comments, give us, let's swap emails. Let's do this because I don't see where you're coming from, but hey, we're happy to have you.
It's another troll. It's another troll. I got to look
Nah,
at.
it's just I saw there was a new comment by the same person. He hadn't been on in I guess a couple weeks or whatever, and he just
Okay.
said I disagree with da 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 da, but didn't give
Okay.
any true
I
reason why,
I
and then
think I
noted
know.
that we
I
needed
think
to
I
do
know.
research.
I think I know who it is, and I
Oh,
think I know. I think he's my personal pet troll.
oh well,
He's
tell
my
him come
personal.
on.
Oh no, no. I told if it's who I think it is, it's my personal troll. And I told him, I said, look, if
Impersonate.
you exactly my personal troll. And I told him, I said, look, I said, don't be a punk about it. Come on the show.
Yeah, yeah. Don't sit here and make
Because
little bird
if it's
comments.
my
Come on, troll.
if it's
Because you
my
the
if
king
it's
of
my personal
trolls.
troll, exactly. If it's my personal troll, then he works with me. So
I
I
thought
told him,
Justin Timberlake was the king of trolls. He done did like three movies, but
you what? Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. But yeah, so that's just a little side note. So look,
yeah.
so
But but getting back because it almost it feels like RFK is like at one point I know he almost made it feel like it's sort of like in order to get over this, in order to get past this, because he was we want to champion
it's
racism and get over it, and in order for y'all to be Avengers and da 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 da, you got to do this, and I'm sitting here going, man, just this
listen,
week,
what's
just
some of
this
the
week.
Celine Dion I need a hero stuff? Like
Yeah. But I mean, just this week, like down in Memphis, there was a
yes, yes.
complaint. The citizens, which are 60% black, the citizens complained so much about the police brutality that they they wanted to do a what's called a consent decree. And
Hmm.
I'm gonna play this clip so it breaks down a little bit.
Based on a comprehensive investigation of the city of Memphis and the Memphis Police Department, the Justice Department has found a pattern or practice of conduct that violates people's civil and constitutional rights. Our investigative team includes career attorneys and staff from the Civil Rights Division and the U.S. Attorney's Office, and more than a dozen experts who specialize in police department management, use of force, statistics, and other areas. This investigation was comprehensive and exhaustive. We interviewed dozens of police department officers and many city employees, as well as hundreds of community members and local organizations. We reviewed hundreds of incidents, watched hundreds of body worn camera videos, read thousands of documents, and conducted statistical analyses of police data regarding officer activities and enforcement. Based on this investigation, we found that the police in Memphis use excessive force, that they stop, search, and arrest people unlawfully, that their policies have a discriminatory effect on Black people, and that they discriminate against people with behavioral health disabilities. Furthermore, we are also concerned that MPD officers unnecessarily escalate encounters with some of the most vulnerable members of this community, its children. Many dedicated police officers in Memphis regularly risk their lives to keep people safe and to protect their rights. The practices I described, however, violate the Constitution and federal law. They harm and demean people, and they promote distrust, undermining the fundamental safety mission of a police department. The city and police department can and must correct these issues. First, the police department must stop using excessive force. Officers often make tough choices in stressful circumstances, but in Memphis, we have found that officers often use unwarranted, serious force in response to low-level violations or traffic offenses. For example, officers tackled a man and held him down by his neck for littering in a park. Officers routinely punish people who flee or don't immediately follow directions. Second, the police department must end unlawful stops, searches, and arrests. Without reasonable suspicion or probable cause to believe the people they stop have contraband or are dangerous or are a flight risk, officers often frisk, search, handcuff, or hold them. For example, police detained a Black man outside of a dollar store and struck him in the leg with a baton and pepper sprayed him in the face. Dollar stores in the area had seen a spate of robberies, but police had no reason to suspect that this man had anything to do with them. Further, without evidence that someone's car contains drugs or weapons, officers often tow and impound the vehicles. Third, the police department must stop policies that have a disproportionate effect on Black people in this community. We uncovered racial disparities that cannot be explained by differences in driving behavior. We found that MPD cites or arrests Black adults for marijuana possession at 5.2 times the rate of white adults, based on data from 2018 to 2023. Police cite Black drivers for equipment violations like tinted windows at several times the rate of white drivers. And between 2018 and 2023, they arrested 121 Black children for disorderly conduct compared to just one child during that time period. Fourth, the city and the police department must stop discriminating in their response to people with behavioral health disabilities. When someone in Memphis calls 911 for a medical emergency, medical professionals respond. But if someone calls 911 for a behavioral health emergency, the police respond, even when there is no evident safety risk. One woman encountered police officers 169 times over 5 years. In nearly 95% of these encounters, there were no criminal charges. Instead, police brought her to hospital care. Crisis intervention teams began in Memphis with officers specifically trained in responding to behavioral health calls. Nevertheless, we found that even these officers still used force without justification and without first trying to resolve situations peacefully. One crisis team member acquired the nickname Taserface for his inordinate use of the tool. These team members routinely escalated encounters and used unnecessary force against people with behavioral disabilities, even children. Crisis intervention officers taunted, threatened, and used force against an 8-year-old boy with a history of mental health treatment. Children often suffer harsh treatment from the Memphis Police Department. Officers approach kids aggressively, they use profane language with them, and inflict needless, unreasonable force on them. In one especially disturbing case, a 16-year-old Black girl called the police to report that she had been assaulted. When officers arrived on the scene, she declined to hand over her phone. The police handcuffed her and she became agitated. The officers responded by threatening her. Ultimately, they grabbed her and pushed her onto the ground. This kind of encounter potentially harms our children more than the similar conduct harms adults, creating risk of serious long-term harm such as post-traumatic stress, diminished academic performance, or future delinquent behavior. The misconduct that we observe offends the dignity of Memphis residents. It creates stigma and trauma. The practical results of the police department's misconduct often include loss of transportation and consequently employment and separation of families. But let me be clear, these tactics do not make Memphis safer. Discriminatory policing erodes the relationship between the community and the police, making it harder for law enforcement to do their jobs, to detect and solve crime or promote public safety. The violations our investigation uncovered stem from Memphis Police Department's deficient policies, supervision, training, and accountability systems. For example, the department uses traffic stops as a crime reduction strategy, but has not adequately supervised those traffic stops or meaningfully assessed whether this approach actually reduces crimes or violates rights. Further, officers lack clear guidance on what they can and cannot do. Supervisors have ignored or excused clear legal violations. The department does not conduct thorough, objective investigations into alleged misconduct. The city has noted the cost of police reform and consent decrees, but the pattern or practice of constitutional violations our investigation identified costs the city too, and will not be stopped by hopeful words or preliminary changes. Achieving meaningful constitutional policing reform costs time and resources, but not implementing systemic reforms also imposes enormous costs, cost in terms of citizens' rights that are trampled, personal and financial costs and injuries and deaths due to excessive, unnecessary use of force, cost in diminished public safety, and millions of dollars in legal judgments against the city due to constitutional violations. When the Justice Department works with police departments to achieve reform, these costs decrease. For example, our work in cities such as Seattle, Albuquerque, and Baltimore has led not only to declines in use of excessive force, but also reductions in violent crime. We stand ready to continue working with the city. The people of Memphis deserve fair, transparent, non-discriminatory constitutional policing, nothing less. We are prepared to work together to write a new chapter for this city. But make no mistake, the pattern or practice of misconduct that we found in Memphis must end. And federal law authorizes us to sue for an injunction if necessary to accomplish that objective.
So basically, it's a promise, the city's promise to make things better. Look at their programs and stuff like that. Baltimore actually does it. And yes, it's been debated because Baltimore's been up and down and it really hasn't necessarily gotten better. But again, it kind of feels like the reason why it's not getting better is because you made a promise, but you
And you're
have
not
no
living up
effort.
to it.
Right, you have no effort.
Then look, it goes back to this. There's a fire, there's a house burning. I posted this on Facebook years ago.
Ooh.
There's a fire burning, there's a
Uh-oh.
house on fire, and 5 miles in each direction, everybody's saying fire, fire. The house is on fire. The house is on fire to the west. People in the north, the house is on fire. People in the south, the house is on fire. People to the east, the house is on fire. Heck, you can even go northwest, southeast, northeast, northwest. The house is on fire.
You know,
The problem is
let me interject. Other countries are telling us your
the
house.
house is on fire, right? But people like RFK Jr. says there's a cat in the tree. And all the efforts go to the cat that's in the tree.
That's real talk.
There's a cat in the tree. And so all the efforts go to the cat in the tree.
Now I'll give it to you.
But
Let's say there are bear traps around the tree, right?
yeah, it's
The bear
called
trap.
it's called greed. It's called Trump. It's called um the real DEI via his cabinet picks.
Yes.
It's called our foolish version of American Christianity. Is called our just piss poor
Blasphemous
management.
version.
Yes, piss poor management of understanding that we all live in this country. The cat and the reason why I
A
use the
lack
cat
of
and the tree.
history, man. It's our lack of
Yes.
history. We
The,
don't
and
know our history.
if you're paying attention to, and if anyone's paying attention to my analogy, you know that the cat and the tree analogy is, it stems back to all the movies where the in the little white town where nothing happens and there's no
Pleasantville.
crime. There you go. And there's really no black people. There's everybody knows everybody. Is when America was great.
Hey,
And
stop talking about Hallmark like that. Stop talking about Hallmark like that. They've gotten better. I saw a couple of shows that actually had black people. It was cool. It was so cool. It was like black people got Christmas. Yes, yes, we do. We celebrate.
right, we do. We celebrate
It's
Christmas,
all
and it ain't
good.
ghetto. Oh my God, it ain't ghetto. Oh my goodness. But it's like, but the house is on fire.
Yeah,
And the thing is, we keep saying this is happening. And what RFK is saying, and we're just using RFK as he's the scapegoat right now. He
hey,
is the
brother.
voice of the people right now. He is saying, well, you gotta just kind of move to the side and build a new one. You kind of have to educate yourself out of racism. You
Right.
kind of have
It's
to
like what?
build barbershops and build stores and build. But the funny thing is, we can do all of that. But what are you gonna do? And I'm not using the old school role of being blocked by the man.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm saying, what do you do when in so many ways that it is not as accessible for us to do that,
Right.
while
Redlining and stuff
understanding
like that.
that, yeah, while understanding that you put things in the way via crazy laws.
And just like you actually hit a very good vein and analogy, or just revealed their trick, so to speak, because
Hmm.
you said he's saying we have to educate ourselves out of racism, which
Hmm.
which being woke is educating those oppressors of racism
Hmm.
so that it doesn't repeat. Instead, I remember I told you like there is a nifty the greatest trick of all that I learned when I was like 9 or 10, and it was just
Hmm.
like, yo, are you serious? Like they took Mexico, drove people out, and then called it New Mexico. You know how dirty
Yeah,
that?
I remember you
You know what
told
kind
me.
of trick that is? That's a slap in the face. We're gonna steal your land, and instead of it's Mexico, no, we don't like that. We're gonna
It's
call it
New
New.
Mexico.
New, that's hotter. That's hotter.
Like,
No,
it's like,
that is gangster on a whole nother level. And
that's like,
this is the same thing.
that's
No, no,
like
no,
the
no. There's no
worst.
racism. You need to educate yourself out of this racism.
And look, they made a TV show about it, called it The Old Christine.
That was my show. I love that show.
Shout out to
I
Elaine
love
from
that show, but
Seinfeld.
it
You
was kind of like
know,
that. It was like it was a slap in the face constantly saying
yeah,
new Christine,
yeah,
old Christine, and stuff
exactly.
like that.
Y'all, shout
It
out
was
to
just
Elaine. Shout out
yeah,
to Elaine from
yeah.
Seinfeld. I
Shut up.
loved her.
And,
That was a crush from the 90s for me, for real.
and you
Yes,
boy,
indeed.
I can't remember his name, but he played Phil on Agents of Shield. He's a dope actor. He's a
Yes,
dope actor.
yes.
What's up, boss?
Hey, just wanted to close everybody out with prayer. Times are crazy.
Yeah.
Talked about today. It's a lot and a lot more to come. So let's just pray. Father, we just thank you for your goodness. We thank you for your plenteous mercies. We ask, Father God, that you will bless all who are under the sound of our voices. We pray ultimately that they all find Christ, and that those who are already walking with Christ, we would encourage them. We just want to encourage them and you all to do, to continue to grow, to continue to believe, to continue to have faith, no matter what the circumstance is. We love you. We thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Bibliotics, we love y'all.
Amen. See y'all next week.
All right, peace.
Through the cracks, honesty and power, we ain't looking back. Ruthless rulers fall just like ancient times. Faith in politics, we the perfect rhymes.